Hello again. So today we're gonna see Vscode as IDE for making Reascripts. The reason I prefer using Vscode is because we can edit multiple files much more easy, having tabs. And also we have a good way of debugging script inside Vscode. I'm not saying that it is better than ReaIDE. I also use ReaIDE, and sometimes I use a little bit of both. And today I will teach some good tricks that the community developed for Vscode. So I also want to thank all the people that helped using Vscode as an IDE for Reascripts, and these people are principally Locacina, GXRay, Edgemil, Maverick, and Sexan. All have contributed some way or another to develop these three techniques that I will show today. So this video is divided in three parts. The first part I will talk about having Intellisense. So Vscode knows which functions Reapers have, and will have autocomplete and coloring and things like that. In the second part I will talk about debugging script inside Vscode, so you can have a watch list and go line by line. And in the third part, we'll talk about mod debug. In the third part, I will talk about calling scripts from Vscode. So Vscode will say to Reaper, okay, now run this file. Without you needing to go from Vscode to Reaper, from Reaper to Vscode, you can just press some shortcut in Vscode and it will send a script to Reaper to be run. Okay, so let's start our first part. Let's start opening a folder in Vscode. So I will create a folder here in my video classes. I will call it, what can I call it? Vscode example, something like this. So you always start with a folder, and now you can create some file inside it. For example, classes underline hello vscode.lua, something like this. So this is already a Lua file, and to have the Intellisense, and by that is like Vscode checking the functions and coloring, like table.insert, have like these colors and everything. You can install some extensions in Vscode, so heads up to extensions, and here you can search for some extensions. The Lua extension that I use to have Intellisense is the name it Lua. It is done by Sumneco. A lot of people use this. I also have Lua debug, this Lua debug extension. And this extension is for running Lua inside Vscode. So let me do example here. If I go here, class hello Vscode, and I say print hello vegan world. Now I can go here on the run and debug, and I can click run and debug, and it will ask with which extension I want to run. I have also this mob debug that we're gonna talk later, but I will just say debug. So it will ask to open a JSON. Okay, it created a JSON, a launch JSON. If you go to your folder, you can see now it create a subfolder called .vscode. And here it has the configuration to run it. So now if I click, now in the run and debug section, I can click run. And it is on the first line. And it printed hello vegan world. Okay. With these two Lua extensions, we have a way to debug poor Lua things inside Vscode and have Intellisense of Lua, but now we still need to bring or all the Reaper API, for example, reaper.insert track at index. We want these autocomplete functions and some information about the functions that we have. So for this we have two ways to do this. The first way is using an extension, which is much more easier to install. And the second one is using user snippets, and although it is a little more difficult, the good thing about this is that you can update whenever you want. Okay, so let's just look the extension first. So in the extension, search for Reaper, and you'll see Reascript, and I can enable here. You probably will need to click install. I had it disabled, so I enable it. And now if you go, for example, here, it will show all the documentation, which is really great. And this is it. This is a good way to have the Reaper API there. The only thing is that, for example, the last update was 2 months ago, and if you want to have it more updated, it's better to use user snippets. So you disable it here, and I will show how I do, which is using user snippet. Okay, so I will show now how to use the user snippets. First, you need to go through this link that I will leave on the description and get the application done by Edgemill. So this is a post in a thread about Vscode and Reascripts. It started with Lucasina and doing exactly this, bringing a set of snippets for the Reaper API for Vscode. And Edgemill made a really small software to get all the Reaper API that is installed in your computer, so it is always updated, and make a file with it that you use as the user snippets. So go here on the stash and download it. Okay, so I have here the software that I downloaded from Edgemill. It comes with a README, which just say how to use it. So the first step is to create a Reascript help HTML. So for this, go in Reaper menu, help, and Reascript documentation. So this is really easy. Go to Reaper, help, and Reascript documentation. And here you have the path to this file. So let's continue reading. Start the app. If HTML file is not found, you can drag and drop. Okay, so go here, execute, and more info, run anyway. And okay, here I think it already found the snippet. So if I click build, file create successfully. Okay, so it already finded my snippet. So if I open this, you can see it's a really long file with like 14,000 lines, and this is scrapping out the Reaper API, so I can just copy all of this. And now you need to go to your user snippets on your C, users, your username, app data, roaming, and code. And here you have many folders. You go inside user, and inside user you have snippets. The folder is snippets, and here you have one for lua.json. And here mine looks exactly the same as the Edgemill, so I will just go here on the snippets that it just built, and we'll copy here and paste, and I will save this file. And now you have all the Reaper functions, or at least it should be working with that JSON file for VS Code. So this is how I prefer to make the Intellisense, which is using user snippets, and I can update whenever I want. On the second part of this video, let's try to install mob debug. So we will try to test our script inside VS Code. So here I tried to get the first track, print hello world, then I just create some big table and print finishing script, and we will try to see the watch list and see the values that they have while the script run. So first thing, go in extension and search for Lua mob debug adapter and install this extension. And now we needed to go and run and debug, and we just had a debug, Lua debug here. Now we're gonna add configuration, and we will select Lua mob debug current file, and we will also select add configuration and Lua mob debug listen. Okay, so now if you go here, you saved the launch file. This launch file is just this file here on your folder .vscode and launch.json. You save these, and now if you go to your run and debug part, you have the mob debug listen. So this will put VS Code to be listening for your script, and Reaper will signal it when it is start running, and they will be in sync with each other. Okay, now that we have more configuration to run it and we can put it on listen, we need to have sockets inside this script. For this, go on my GitHub and look for the Lua sockets folder, and you can download this. You can also download via Reaper using ReaPack. Let me just synchronize everything. So go in extension, browse packages, wait, and look for Lua sockets, and you can download from here. I have already installed, so it will be on your script folder, Daniel Lumertz, Lua sockets, and you copy this socket module. Here you have some examples to how to send OSC if you want. Probably I will make a video about it later, but let's just copy the socket module, go back, and we need to create a new folder for this. I at least recommend, so I will create one at the script folder, so new, and I will call it classes mob debug, open it, and I will paste the socket module folder here. Inside it you have many Lua files to use the lower level API of the of the socket module, and inside socket you have 3 files. The first one is for Windows, so if you use Windows you can delete the other 2. The second one is for macOS, so if you use macOS you can delete the others, and if you use Linux you can delete the others and rename this to be just core.so. okay, I will leave it because it doesn't matter, you can leave it or delete the others that you don't need. Basically we will need to start this mob debug file here. So you can just copy the path and pass to your script, but what I like to do is this. Let me go to the script, so it needs to be on the start of it. Let me copy the lines that we're gonna run. So it's basically this, these 3 lines of adding to the require path. So because we're gonna require mob debug.start, so we need to pass the path to the package cpath to it and to the package.path. So these two lines, you just need one of them. So if you use Windows, you use the .dll. If you use macOS, you use the .so. So you delete this here. And here you will need to update this line. So reaper.getResourcePath will return basically this here, this folder. So inside of scripts, so Reaper scripts. So first thing is /script/ and in my case is /classes mob debug. So go here, scripts. This should be classes mob debug, and I don't need /debug vs. So basically this is the path that I need for this example. Script, because it's the scripts folder inside the Reaper folder, classes mob debug, and socket module, which is this folder here that we need. And this line down here is the exactly same path, but it ends with .lua. So same thing. Let me put some space here. You can see it's the same thing. Save it. And now if I try to run mob debug listen, you can see it is waiting for some signal. So now if I go to Reaper and I add that script, so new action, load Reascript, and classes Vscode, open, I have already it here. So I will just run it. And now if you go to Vscode, Reaper will freeze, okay? This is the expected behavior. When mob debug is running, Reaper is freezed. You can interact with it. So if you go to Vscode, now you can see you can interact with the code. It is just a read option. You can't write, but you can do things like this. Put on your watch list the track variable, and you go line by line, and you can see, oh, track equals to this value. And you could check like track equals to track, and it would return 2, for example, if you had another variable like track equals track 2. Okay. So, and now I also have the t variable, and now I can open this and look inside of each table, which is really good for debugging script. And I also can put breakpoints on the code. Let me show example of this. So go to Vscode, now run this line to end it. And where is the... Oh, I know the problem. I'm using print, but I should use show console message, because I didn't create the print function in this script. So console message here too, and I will put a breakpoint here. So you could do something like if true, then and I will run mob debug. So F5 to run it. Go to the Reaper, run the script. Go back to here. Oh, this is frozen. I can't change the position, but I can click continue and it freeze on that statement. Let me try to move it. So it freezes here, and I can watch the variables now. And if I finish the script, and I can see the print things that I printed. So this is mob debug. It isn't so hard to install, and to use is basically this. You run the thing on Vscode and head over to Reaper and run there. Okay, and one last tip for using mob debug: instead of having these 3 or 2 lines in the start of every script, what you can do is copy the lines to a separate file, save this somewhere on your computer, and then just do file, use the function do file, which will run this Lua path, this Lua script, this one here, at the start of your script. So what I do is have this file saved somewhere in my computer, and then whenever I want to use it, I just put this line at the start of the script, and I have mob debug working. Okay, so this third part of the video is for asking Vscode to run scripts inside Reaper. So it will basically throw a script at Reaper. It is based, actually you need Reaper 6.8 or more. It is based that you can go, for example, on your terminal or the CMD and put something like this. So this is the path of Reaper, program files, Reaper, reaper.exe, and here is an argument not create a new instance, and after it is the path of a script that I made, and if I run this, it focus on Reaper and open it the script that I call it. So what you can do is make Vscode run terminal commands, and in this terminal commands will be basically the Reaper path, and this argument no new instance, and the path of the script, and then you don't even need to register the script at your actions list. You can just throw things at a Reaper, which is kind of great for testing. And for that we gonna, and if you want more information about what you can do on your terminal, you can go to ReaIDE teams, GitHub, and documentations reaper.cli, and here you have many information about this and about options you have. But okay, now we're gonna go to Vscode, and what you want is actually go to your Vscode folder, so appdata, roaming, code, and user, and here you have a task.json, and if you don't have created this, is tasks in the plural. Okay, I have, if you put without this s, you will have trouble. Okay, now that you have the task.json, open it and put the code that I put on the description. You can also get from this post from sexan at the thread running script at Vscode guide. And here you have a Windows version and a OS version, but I will show just for Windows because it's what I have. So let's run this, read this. So first it is creating a command called run Reaper script, which will basically throw the script at Reaper. It will pass the Reaper path, the non-new instance argument, and this is the path of the focused file. So if I go here at the hello world Vscode, and just remember, at least on Windows, you can't have like 2 double spaces or triple. Don't do this. You can have 1 space, but that is the maximum. Else it will break things. Here I have the script. I comment the mob debug part. So now you go on terminal and run task, and you select run Reaper script, and it run it here on Reaper. I will try again. Run terminal, and run task, run Reaper script. Here it also comes with this task.json also comes with other things. So this debug script is just running the script on the current debug thing. is the same thing that clicking here, start debugging, is same thing as clicking F5. The only reason that we need this is to call here on the next task, which is debug and run. This is basically running debug script, or basically run the script at Vscode and then running at Reaper. So this is really great with mob debug. So let me uncomment this. And now what I can do is go terminal, run task, and debug and run. What it basically did is it started the debugging here. Oh, sorry, I need to put this on listen. Okay, so be sure you have the debug mob debug listen, and then run the task. Run task, debug and run. So okay, what it did, it froze the Reaper because it started the mob debug. But with one button you can run the thing on VS Code and then run on Reaper, and then you can debug it line by line, which is great. Now Reaper unfrozen. Now last thing, because it's a little tiring, go to terminal and run task. Let's put this as a keyboard shortcut for us. So for this, go to the same folder that is the task.json, and have a keybindings.json, and or create if you don't have it. Open it. So basically what you do is create another space here between curly brackets, put key and what keys you want to press. And for example here I added these two to run Reaper things. So Ctrl Alt plus Q will do the workbench.action.task.run task, and the argument that we will pass is run Reaper script. So Ctrl Alt Q will basically run our task, which is called run Reaper script, and Ctrl Alt W will basically run the task, which is called debug and run. So now I can go here and just press Ctrl Alt W, and it froze Reaper and went back to VS Code, and I can start debugging it. So this is the third part of Reaper that I showed how to create a task and create a key bindings to it. Okay, another thing that you can do on Reaper is go on Reaper preference, external editor, Lua, and here you add editor, you add editor configuration for Luas, and here you put the VS Code path. For example, here I have the path for VS Code. And now with these settings, you can go to your script and edit and click code, and it will open on VS Code. And also, if you like to edit things on VS Code, but still like to have, for example, the watch list, which is really good, for example, scripting running on the background, you can have both open and go, for example, here and do a small script like function loop and reaper.defer, for example, loop, and for example track equals get selected track project 0, select track 0, and start the loop. For example, this is really small script, and now you see this is not updated, but if you save this and click here, it will ask you, oh, you want to reload the script? You click yes, and it updated, and then you can save here. And which is really good is that you can see the variables changing in scripts that run on the background, like this one. that is getting this first selected track. So okay, this is a really small video about VS Code, and in the next video I will be talking about the for loops that we just saw a really small example.